Hello everyone and welcome to round 10 of the Nebula rFactor Championship. We're in Belgium going around Spa Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix. It's 22 laps to this historic circuit with the soft and medium compound tyres will be the tyre choices for today. Craig Baxter won last time out and is currently leading the championship, so Fred Bodden's going to have to try and put a stop to that if he wants to continue his fight to win this World Championship. I'll now hand you over for Justin though, who's going to take you through a lap of Belgium.
Welcome to Spa for the Belgian Grand Prix as we're starting a lap with the American Evan Rice. It's a short run to La Source with a braking zone just after the 100-meter board. Evan drops all the way down to first gear and hits his apex nicely. Keeping away from the outside curb to get the best traction now, it's very important to carry as much speed out of the corner since you'll be mostly full throttle all the way until Lake Combe at the end of the Kemmel Straight. Evan drops down into 6th gear for Eau Rouge and carries nearly 300 kilometers per hour of speed onto the main overtaking location for the circuit, reaching speeds now well over 320 kph before spotting the braking zone just before the 50-meter board on the left-hand side. Evan drops down to 2nd gear for the quick right and then left, and then shifting into 3rd gear to dull the power through turn 9. Accelerating now up to 5th gear before quickly dropping back down to 2nd for the downhill right-hander at turn 10. Evan takes an early apex, lets the car run out a bit wide, and then feeds it quickly back over to the right-hand side for the corner with no name. Accelerating now down the hill towards the infamous Puhan, just about reaching 300 kph before dropping back down to 4th gear and flicking the car in at high speed. Once again, Evan avoids the exit curb entirely and moves back to the left-hand side of the track for turn 13. Once more dropping down to 2nd gear again, Evan misses the apex of 13 slightly, which compromises his entrance to 14, but he compensates and continues towards Stavelo. Again, using 2nd gear, turn 15 is very important since Curve Paul Frere is nearly flat out. You can hear Evan lift the throttle slightly as he navigates his way through turn 16 with his low downforce setup. Long, flat-out section now as we approach the final high-speed corner of the lap. Blanchimont is easily flat out in dry conditions, but can get tricky when side-by-side with another car. Still accelerating now toward another popular overtaking location at the bus stop chicane. Evan brakes just after the 100-meter board and down to 1st gear for the 2nd time during this lap. He uses a bit of curbing, but not too much as he carefully accelerates now to the line for a 149.397 and 5th position on the grid.
On to the qualifying classification then for the Belgian Grand Prix. It's Craig Baxter on the front row alongside Fred Bodden, so it's set up to be a great battle for this championship. The two Ferraris 1-2 once again. Sam Carpenter though still trying to keep his hopes alive that he can win this championship. It's a long shot, but with qualifying 3rd he has a chance, and Kieran Chadwick alongside him in 4th place. The Toro Rossos lock out the 3rd row in the grid, so it's a best qualifying session for them so far this season. Really exciting lap times from those two drivers. Juan Manuel Gomez, always good in qualifying, is up in 7th place. Vlad Dolgar with a surprising 8th. He'll be looking to gain some positions and possibly even a top 5 if some incidents happen up ahead. Max Shepard though unhappy with that lap time, as well as Christopher Cobb in 10th. They'll be looking to gain some positions as well, so expect some chaos in the first few laps. Tom Martinez unable to get his PC fixed in time for qualifying, so hoping he can get it in time for the race. Mike Panneman as well, unable to make qualifying, and Callum Knighton having issues, unable to set a lap time. Just couldn't get the lap together before this race. Welcome to Spa for the Belgian Grand Prix. It's the two Ferraris on the front row once again as the cars are filling into their grid positions. It's Callum Knighton starting on the last row of the grid, so he's going to be looking to gain a lot of positions, especially if there's any incidents at the start. We're waiting for the red lights to come on here before we can get underway and start racing at this historic circuit. There's 3, 4, now 5 red lights. The lights are out and we are off. It looks like Baxter's got off to a sluggish start. Will he be able to maintain position into turn 1? Carpenter's all over the back as Bodden goes for a dive down the inside, side by side into turn 1. It looks like all the drivers have got through unscathed. The two Toro Rossos gaining positions in Bodden all over the back of Baxter, but Carpenter as well all over the back of Bodden as they come up. Eau Rouge 3 in a row, and it looks like Baxter's actually managed to gap Bodden a little, but the slipstream's going to be powerful here as Bodden goes to the outside, and Carpenter as well. Is he going to make a move? Looks like Baxter's going to go defensive to the inside. Carpenter's got nowhere to go, and Bodden though, is he going to make a move round the outside? He later on the brakes just hangs it round the outside. They almost make contact, and Carpenter now, is he going to be able to make a move? But Baxter's not giving up. They're still running side by side as they come down to Rafage.
Yeah, it was a great start by the Ferraris. They're keeping the first and second positions, but you just saw the effect of that slipstream all the way through Eau Rouge and on the Kemmel Straight. It was massive, and I think Fred almost took the position, but Craig just managed to hang in there and keep the position in the end.
Well, Bodden's actually managed to keep that position around the outside of Lecombe, so Bodden leading the way. Surprising actually, he was able to just go so much later on the brakes. Baxter though looking up the inside, not going to make the move though into this corner, and it looks like Carpenter's ready to battle this race. He looks like he's ready to get on the podium for the first time in a long time actually, after a really bad race out in Turkey. Actually getting a race penalty after an incident involving with him and Knighton. And talking about Knighton, he's managed to gain a few positions at the start as Carpenter's all over the back of Baxter once again as they come into Blanchimont. Is Carpenter going to make it too wide? No, he isn't. Baxter using all of the track available to him, and it doesn't look like Carpenter's close enough to make a move into the bus stop. He's going to go really late on the brakes, and we're going to see just how powerful this slipstream is around this track.
Yeah, he definitely stands to gain the most out of this battle at the front. If those Ferraris hit each other, obviously Carpenter will inherit the lead and obviously probably have a good chance of winning the race. You can just see the gap that the front three have over, I think that's Knighton in fourth.
Knighton's up into fourth already, wow.
He's had a great start up from the very back of the field, but coming through Eau Rouge now, the two Ferraris right behind each other, and I think that's Baxter going to go to the outside. He's going to run a great run down the Kemmel Straight, but as they run side by side into Lecombe.
Yeah, they're side by side into Lecombe. Will Baxter go for a move round the outside like Bodden did in lap 1? He's definitely going to go for it. Both of them are side by side. They make contact on the inside, and that's Baxter round. Carpenter's going to helm on the front. That's Baxter lost a few positions then in contact between the two Ferraris. Something we haven't seen yet this season as Knighton goes for the outside now, down into Rafage. Baxter will surely squeeze him out onto the outside curb, but Knighton's definitely not going to give up. Baxter squeezing him out onto the inside. It's going to be interesting to see if he's got damage. He definitely made contact with Carpenter as Carpenter tried to avoid it. Knighton all over the back of him now, down into Pouon and not able to make a move. He's going to get really close though down into this next corner, and he's definitely going to be able to make a move under the braking zone. Goes to the inside. Baxter's going to try and defend it and hang it round the outside. Knighton gets almost losing the car on the exit. They're still side by side here into the braking zone of this right-hander. Knighton has the line into the corner. Baxter has to back out, and he's conceded that position.
Yeah, it was a heavy impact between Baxter and Carpenter there. I think Carpenter couldn't really do anything to avoid the collision, and he just went straight into him. I'm not sure if Sam actually has any damage, but I think Baxter, he's dropped back a lot, and he must have damage at this point. I think side pod damage or something, but Carpenter going down the inside of Fred Bodden here, down into the bus stop chicane. They're side by side. I think Bodden's just about edged him out, squeezed him out there, and has kept the lead of this race. But yeah, it's a heavy impact with Carpenter. Baxter, think he's got damage?
Yeah, possibly. Baxter's back past Knighton though, as Knighton goes for a move into turn 1 to take back third position. Great battling going on throughout the field, and it looks like, I think that's Shepherd on the back of Davison as well for top 5 positions. So there's battling going on everywhere throughout the field. Spa proving to be one of the best tracks to allow cars for overtaking. Is Carpenter now going to the outside? Is he going to do what Baxter did? Bodden's going to hopefully not have another incident here. He definitely doesn't want that. Carpenter not able to go later on the brakes. Knighton though is going to hang it around the outside of Baxter and definitely makes that move. Sticks it. We'll get 3 wide here coming into Lecombe, and Shepherd looks like he's the one that's lost out most out of all of that. You see Baxter in the background almost losing the car and into the wall there. That was a massive moment for him.
Yeah, the damage must be having an effect on his car at the moment. He's dropping back even further, and it looks like at this moment that he possibly won't be contending for the lead unless he manages to have a massive increase in pace. But two at the front here, look at the Sam right on the back of Fred Bodden's gearbox, and I think he's going to try and make a move around the outside into Paul Frere chicane. He's not quite got the speed to take it through there, but he's going to get a nicer line than Bodden into the two right-handers here. He's going to go down the inside, but no, Fred just closed him off, and he's kept the position. But it's a great battle up front here.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting to see different people out the front battling. It's the first time we've seen Carpenter really up there fighting for the lead. It's good to see finally some fighting from these two up the front. This is going to be interesting for the championship though. If Baxter can hold on to only 4th position, it's definitely going to spice things up as Carpenter goes for a move down the inside. Bodden leaving just enough room. They almost make contact on the inside, and it does look like Baxter's losing as Gomez then makes contact with Davison on the inside, and Davison's going to try and fling up the inside. He's made contact with Shepherd, and that's going to allow Rice past his teammates. So there's a 4-way battle going on for 5th position here. It's great to see as Carpenter's actually made his way past Bodden. Is they're going to go side by side up Eau Rouge? No, not quite. Carpenter though in the lead of this race for the first time, and it looks like on lap 4 Bodden's going to have slipstream and going to the outside on this Kemmel straight. He's definitely going to have the top speed over the Williams driver as they come into the braking zone. Who's going to be the battle of the late breakers? Who's going to win it anyway? And Bodden looks to hang it around the inside once again, and he's just that outside line, he's just able to carry so much more speed than Carpenter through there, and it's really interesting to see how he's able to do that like any other driver.
Yeah, he just breaks so much later into Lacombe, and you can see it. I think he's done that move maybe 2 or 3 times. He did it to Baxter as well, and it worked basically perfectly. And
Carpenter's gone!
Carpenter span, and he's managed to keep it out the wall. He rejoins the track in 4th place, but that's thrown his chance of possibly the win out of the bag. Basically, it's a massive mistake for him. Did he just get on the curb too much or something?
I think he put the power down on the Astroturf and he just lost the rear, and it sent him into the grass. So it's so unfortunate for him. He was running in the lead at the start of the lap, and now he finds himself in 4th position. But we go on board with Mike Panneman. He's actually running in P10, running in the points for him. Ahead of him is Christopher Cobb, and I think that's Shepherd running slowly. So I don't know what's happened to him.
Shepherd has a front wing. Let's see. I don't think he has a front wing. Well, we need to see a replay. Yeah, he doesn't have a front wing, so there must have been contact between him and the wall, or him and another driver. I'm not quite sure what really happened there. We might see a replay, but yeah, he's not got any front wing, so you can see how slowly he's going. He's definitely going to go in the race into the pits to repair. But you're seeing a replay here of Chadwick trying to go around the outside of Evan Rice here, and he goes around the outside of Blanchemont. He heads straight into the wall. So I'm not. Did he get squeezed by Evan there, do you think?
We're going to get another replay. It looked like a really tough one. I mean, Chadwick tried to hang it around the outside, and Rice obviously on the inside line. He's going to understeer. Yeah, he just picks up so much understeer. I think the initial contact was obviously Rice's fault. I mean, he understeered out wide, and he definitely could have carried less speed throughout the corner. But Chadwick, though, he seemed to try and keep his foot in it, keep on the power. And on that Astroturf, as you've seen with Carpenter, it just spins the car around, and unfortunately for him, that's definitely a DNF. I mean, that's definitely not good to see. We like to see Chadwick up the front battling, but we now have an onboard of Knighton start. You see, he gained 4 positions, so people just being overly cautious at the start, really. And I don't know. I think there was an incident. I think there was actually an incident with Chadwick up at Lacombe on lap 1 as well.
Yeah, we might be able to see it up here. I think Chadwick's in front at this moment in time. But yeah, you can see a great view from Knighton's car here as they go 4 wide into Lacombe. And yeah, there was a contact there. I think Chadwick going straight off at Lacombe. We might see a better view of that, but I think he had slight contact at the corner, just went wide and basically cut the corner. But on board with Gomez here, and he's right behind, I believe that's Evan Rice, maybe 2 seconds behind on lap 6.
Yeah, it's good to see Rice up there. I mean, he qualified really well in Turkey, but definitely a race for him to forget there, getting a drive-through penalty at the start, actually jumping the start. It's Gomez! Oh, nice save from the Argentine driver. He just lost it under braking and able to keep it under control. That could have ended much worse for him. You see Davison, though, this battle for 5th place is sort of spreading out now after that incident. Well, we've not quite seen what happened to Shepherd yet, so I hope we'll get a replay of that. Maybe you'll see why these have just spreaded out so much. They were really, really close in battling for P5, so yeah, it'll be. I want to kind of see what happened with that.
No, I think it's only a matter of time before Gomez really catches Rice. Obviously, the slipstream is quite effective. He's not quite in the slipstream yet of Rice. But yeah, Davison, he's running quite well here in 7th. He's been quite unlucky over the season, being involved in first lap incidents. and crashes which haven't been his fault. So it's a relatively good race for him so far.
Yeah, definitely. You see Cobbs under attack from Dogar, I think that is in the Force India, so he's running in the points in his debut race. It's definitely a decent a decent race so far for him. I think he's just running out there, keeping it under control, definitely not getting into any incidents like a few other drivers have already. But talking about the battle out front, it looks like Bodden just seems to be in control at the moment, but Knighton's actually gaining quite a lot on him. He's gaining, on the last lap he gained 4 tenths, so in the lap previous to that he gained 2 tenths, so Knighton currently the fastest guy on track, and Baxter's falling away a lot, so I'm guessing he must have damage. It's not good to see. We want to see a battle between the two Ferrari drivers, but at least this is going to spice up the championship.
I do believe Knighton started on fresh tyres, didn't he, since he started at the back?
Yes,
so
he did, yeah.
That obviously helps a little bit in terms of his pace, but you can see Baxter, he's not falling away. I think he's definitely got a lot of damage to his car, but he's not falling away as much as we previously thought. He's keeping relatively close to Knighton. It's about the same gap to each driver, maybe a second and a half between each driver. So the field at the front is starting to fall back, and then I think 5th place driver Evan Rice is maybe 4 or 5 seconds back. So it's little packs of drivers here in the race so far. Not too much action in the race so far as the drivers start to sort of fill out a bit.
Yeah, definitely. Davison looks like he's closing up on Gomez, though, as you said earlier, with Gomez catching Rice. I think actually Rice has pulled out a really good lap. He's managed to gained almost half a second on Gomez on that last lap in the final sector, so I wonder if Gomez had another issue into that bus stop chicane, maybe having some troubles with the braking on that car. But Davison, yeah, much later on the brakes into Lacombe here, and he's definitely gaining on the Lotus driver. So Davison, as you said, not had a really perfect season so far. He's definitely been involved with a lot of incidents, none his fault though, so definitely in contention for one of the most unlucky drivers this season.
Yeah, definitely. But he's definitely closing up on Gomez here. Gomez isn't a bad driver. We're seeing a replay here of Shepherd and Gomez into Eau Rouge, and there was a little bit of contact, and I'm not sure, was that lag or something, because Gomez seemed to be absolutely everywhere through Eau Rouge, and yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened here, but see Gomez, his view, and the head into Eau Rouge, and Shepherd isn't quite alongside, but he's on there on the left, you can see in the mirror, and yeah, it's a very weird incident. It's like he sort of got hit from behind.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we're going to see the offboard shot here. So Gomez is on the inside line. Shepherd's actually, he has quite a long in it. Yeah, it's wow. Okay, so Shepherd losing his front wing. That's where he lost his front wings. So definitely, I definitely think that was lag related there. Definitely, because you've seen Gomez go off onto the grass and then come across back on, and then. I think it's just an unfortunate thing with online racing, I guess, but it's definitely not good to see for definitely for Shepherd anyway as well.
Definitely, but you can see Bodden out front in first position is starting to. I think he is actually getting closed in a bit by Knighton. Baxter in third, followed by Carpenter in fourth. Carpenter, despite that spin earlier, is actually keeping quite well in this race. He's not out the race yet, but just see at the very start of this straight there, quite far away. Starting to close on Baxter, and as we're going to get to the pit stop range, when do you think drivers are going to start pitting?
Definitely within the next few laps. You've got, I think the drivers are pretty comfortable one stop around this track. Definitely with only 22 laps in the soft and medium compound tyres, drivers should be able to one stop without any troubles really. But it's just going to be, is anyone going to go for an undercut? I mean, is Knighton going to try and take the lead from Bodden? Because if he's able to get within that 1 second slipstream, he's definitely going to be able to challenge him for the lead of this race. And talking about it, it definitely looks like that gap's coming down.
Yeah, it maybe looks like 2 seconds at the moment. If not, yeah, probably a second and a half. And I don't know if he's running a different wing, Knighton's running a different wing, but definitely closing in Bodden at the moment. He's definitely got the pace advantage over Bodden. And it's just, I think, a matter of time before one of the drivers reacts in pits, and that's, I think, when we'll see a bit of action on track. But at the moment, I think it's just Knighton trying to close in that gap before the pit stop. It'll be interesting to see if he undercuts Bodden, but yeah, definitely not the most exciting race out front, but should start to get exciting pretty soon.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like the drivers are closing up to one another. You can see it seems like these two packs are forming out the front as well. It looks like it's going to be Knighton and Bodden for the win, and for the third place, the last place on the podium, it looks like it's going to be Carpenter or Baxter at the moment, but obviously you can't rule anything out. Anything can happen in this race, and it definitely looks like Gomez is going to come into the pits this lap. Yep, he is. And it's a really tight pit lane, so it's going to be challenging for some drivers, and Davison gaining a position from that. And you can see Mike Panneman, he's actually gained a lot on Davison on this last lap.
Yeah, he's definitely closing up. He should actually... Davison's head is a bit too wide there, and Panneman's actually got quite a bit of run through turn 1. Slipstream's definitely going to kick in at the moment as they head up and into Radion and Eau Rouge. And I think Panneman's actually going to get a great amount of slipstream onto the Kemmel straight now. He might be able to make a move heading to Le Combe, and yeah, you can see he's actually made. I think he's actually made the move right before the corner. So I don't know if Davison's actually turned his engine down or if his tyres are going off, but it was a relatively easy move from Mike there.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see his second race of the season. He's promoted himself up into 6th place. So it's definitely running a decent race for him so far. He'll definitely be looking for some good points. Davison, though, he seems to be struggling, so as you said, I wonder if his tyres are just falling off. But in the last lap, it looks like the gap between the two front runners are stayed relatively the same, so putting in similar lap times, it seems like, oh, Bodden having to lift off through that corner, so definitely a challenging corner in these cars, and it looks like Knighton is definitely not going to give up a chance at winning this.
Yeah, definitely. That corner back there, in light fuel, you'd probably be able to take it just about flat, but obviously heavier fuel and basically almost dead tyres at this moment in time, probably not flat as you saw Bodden there, but it's only a matter of time before one of these drivers pits. As you see, actually Baxter pits early, and he's actually heading into the wall. I think he's actually crashed into the wall.
You just seen the front wing of his car. You seen it go up into the air, so I wonder if he's crashed and he's out of this race. His Carpenter's continuing, but this could be dramatic scenes here in Spa.
Yeah, it's definitely a high point in the championship in terms of because Bodden, I think he was only 20.
Baxter's sorry for interrupting, but Baxter's retired from this race.
So he went into the pit wall, and I'm not sure how he did that. We're probably going to see a replay soon, but you can see Knighton here is actually closing a lot up on Bodden, and the gap is maybe 2/10 at the moment. You see on this lap, he's gained maybe a second on Bodden. You think Bodden's tyres are just giving up?
Quite possibly. I mean, he's definitely been pushing, and as you said earlier, Knighton started on the fresh tyres because he was outside the top 10, unable to get a lap together in qualifying, but definitely can get laps together here in this race. He's got off to a great start, and he's definitely closing in on that Ferrari driver. He's right on the gearbox of Bodden, but is he able to get close enough? No, not really through the high-speed chicane, and into this braking zone. We're going to see if any of these drivers are going to peel into the pits this lap, because it's definitely getting into the pit window, and I would like to think that they would be pitting for some fresh tyres. Definitely Bodden anyway. And I wonder, do you think Knighton will come in with them?
I think they'll both pit at the same time. I don't think Knighton would really risk the overcut, but you see Bodden there almost heading off circuit, and I think his tyres have just at this point given up. You see under the braking, Callum Knighton actually gains a lot, and yet they actually both head into the pits, so they're heading into pits at the same time. And yeah, it should be interesting to see. I think Bodden will come at the pits first, but these two are very, very close at the moment. You can see Carpenter in the background also peeling into the pits. So it's the top three into the pits now, and it's going to be a battle of pit crew to see who actually comes out first. I don't think either driver has damage, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting time.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like, yeah, Bodden's going to come out ahead. In fact, it's going to be close on the run-up to Eau Rouge here at on lap 11 in Carpenter. I don't know if he's had some repair damage, but I think he's lost some time in the pit stop, so that's not good for him. But it's definitely going to go the gap to the guys in front are going to go down, because Knighton and Bodden are about to battle for the lead here. Is Knighton going to go to the inside? He is. They're side by side into the braking zone. Knighton just streaks past, although he runs deep into the corner. Bodden around the outside, getting the lead back, as Knighton having issues with oversteer on that Mercedes car.
Yeah, I think he just went for the move. He just thought now or never, and if I get track position when the tyres are cold, I think that would be great. But yeah, it was a bit of a Yeah, it was a bit of a rash move, I think, from Callie. He sort of outbroke himself. But you see Baxter here, we're going to see a replay of him heading into the pits, and it's going to be interesting. I think he's going to hit the outside wall. He takes the first chicane, right? He heads into the pits, and he actually hits the inside of the wall. So I actually thought he hit the outside, but he hit the inside. I don't know, did he have oversteer heading into the pits, or?
Well, you seen weird sort of corrections on the steering wheel there. You had this sort of elevation change as you go into the pit lane. You seen it dip down, and I don't quite think he expected the car to. Maybe it's the damage from earlier on in the race, maybe getting reacting over that bump. But he just seemed to turn the steering wheel, then thinking he wasn't going to make it into the pit lane, then turned it again and actually turned it too much and straight into the wall. So it's the first time we've seen something as sort of rookie-esque mistake from Baxter this season.
Yeah, I think is that his first DNF this season, I believe.
Yeah, it will be the first DNF. I mean, he had the incident with the back runner when he was leading the Monaco race, but onto the lead of this race, Knighton's going to dive it up the inside, making contact with Bodden on the outside. It's going to take the position. Yes, he is. Really good move from Knighton, just late on the brakes. But Bodden then, is he going to be able to hang it? Down the inside of No Name, definitely not. And it looks like he's all over the back of Knighton. Is he going to go? Oh, he almost goes into the diffuser of the Mercedes car. But Knighton then leading this race on lap 12.
Yeah, it was an aggressive overtake by Callum there, but it was a bit of wheel banging heading into the Rivage corner. Yeah, so it wasn't totally clean, but he got the move done, and he's now out in front. But Bodden, definitely not a slow driver, so he'll try and keep with Knighton at this time. But Knighton's starting to open up a little bit of a gap now, but the slipstream definitely effective enough for Bodden to close back in. We've still got 10 laps left in this long race, so yeah, it's definitely not over yet between these two.
Well, how's this for a championship fight? If Bodden wins this race, he's only going to be 2 points behind Baxter in the championship stand.
With only a few rounds left to go, so probably going to head to the last round, maybe.
Definitely, that's what we'd like to see. Anyway, it would be really good if we could see them battle it out in Suzuka for the championship. That'd be the dream ending to what has been a really good season. I mean, we've had battles at the start in the first race. We had battle between Baxter and Carpenter in Australia for the lead. And we've also had crashes and Imola, and yeah, we've definitely had some good races as Bodden goes to the outside for a move on Knighton into Lecombe. He's going to hang it around the outside once again. He's pulled that move on so many drivers as he squeezes Knighton up onto the curb. But will Knighton get a run down towards Rafaj? He will. He's going to go for the inside once again. Knighton makes contact with Bodden though. Is he going to give that position back? It doesn't look like it. Knighton's going to try and hang around the outside of No Name, and yeah, I think he backed out of that one there as Bodden gets loose, and Knighton just not close enough to make a move into Pouon, but is he? I think he is. Bodden sort of backs out of that one, and Knighton goes streaking up the inside, back into the lead of this race. These two drivers going head to head here for the win in Spa, and it still side by side as Bodden touches the side pod of Knighton's car, and this is all going to help Carpenter's chances of getting back at fighting with these two guys up front.
Yeah, it's a great battle up front here between the Ferrari and the Mercedes driver. And looking at gap there, I can't quite see Carpenter, but he's definitely going to be closing in. There's heavy wheel banging between these two, and it's definitely not going to help their pace in the long run. It's interesting for us to watch, but in the long run, their pace is definitely getting affected by this. They're probably losing maybe a second to 2 seconds as they head into bus stop chicane. You're seeing a great view from the back of Callum Knighton's car as they head through the bus stop chicane onto, I believe, lap 14. And it's going to be an interesting run into Eau Rouge and onto the Campbell Straight, as that slipstream is very, very effective. We've seen Fred Bodden actually make the move around the outside into Lecombe a few times on dry routes, and do you think I think he'll be able to make it again if he's close enough as they head into Radion and Eau Rouge. And Fred Bodden's actually got a great run up here as you see the slipstream starting to take effect on the Campbell Straight. I think Knighton's going to head, he's actually going to stay on the outside this time and try and outbrake Bodden into the Lecombe chicane, and he's just, I think he's just given Fred the position there. He didn't defend too hard actually.
If you see, Knighton always seems to get a move on Bodden into Rivage every single lap. Is Bodden going to defend it this time? I think he is. And Knighton's got nowhere to go, not down the inside this time, but he's going to go down the inside of the next corner and he's going to try and hang it around the outside. He's putting himself in positions where he's unable to make the move stick, and it definitely seems like Knighton is actually the quickest driver. Is he going to make a move into Puon again? I don't quite think he's going to make that move stick that time. And Knighton then, all over the back of Bodden once again. This slipstream is just providing great racing for these two as they're running side by side into the Paul Frere chicane, and Knighton loses out again. So Knighton definitely has the pace to win this race, and so does Bodden. But as said previously, the gap to Carpenter's now down to 6 seconds. So Carpenter's gaining a lot on these drivers.
Yeah, I think Knighton's just trying to force Fred into a mistake, and it's happening, but he's just not in a position to really keep the position. As you see, Shepherd on the back of, I believe is this Mike Panneman?
Yeah, that is Mike Panneman up ahead.
As they head through Lacombe and into Rivage. I think Shepherd's got a great run into there on the newer tyres, and he's going to head down the inside of Panneman. Panneman's going to try and stick around the outside, and I think he's just realised that he's actually on the outside though, so he's not giving up totally, but that is the 7th position taken by Shepherd, and it's actually not a bad comeback considering he lost the front wing early in this race.
Yeah, he's already had to make a couple of pit stops, and we're going to get a replay of Davison. He's retired from the race a couple of laps ago, so what's happened to him out? He's had the exact same issue as Baxter.
And he's tried to reverse into pits, he's flipped it around, and I think he's hit the wall again.
Just
and
look at the damage on the front of that car.
Yeah, I think his car is completely totaled, but returning to the battle at the front, these two are still going hammer and tong in this battle, as you see Bodden leading the race from Callum Knighton as they head into Rivage and into the corner with no name. There's 7 laps left in this race, and they're still battling. I think it's only a matter of time before Carpenter actually catches up at this rate if these two continue to battle, but it's an absolutely great battle out here. I think it's probably one of the best battles we've seen all season.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely up there with the battle for the lead in Germany. I mean, there's so many overtaking opportunities at this track, and we're going to see the gap to Carpenter, so it's definitely coming down. If these two continue to battle, Carpenter might have a chance, but I mean, they're going to have to properly go at it if Carpenter wants a chance at winning this race. I would say the spin he had earlier on, he definitely threw it away for himself. I mean, he was running in prime position to win this race. He hasn't won a race since Spain, or actually Monaco, if I'm not mistaken. So he really wants to get back onto the podium. He really wants to get back up there. It'd be good to see sort of a late comeback in this championship.
Yeah, definitely. He's had a few average races, not being on the podium, I think, since the mod actually changed, but yeah, it'd be good to see him back on the podium as you see the 2 front drivers heading into La Source, and I think Bodden's actually headed a bit wide, and that's going to allow Knighton a great run into Eau Rouge now. He's right in the gearbox. I think he might even have to back out going into Eau Rouge, and this is probably the closest he's ever been to Fred through Eau Rouge as they head onto the Kemmel Straight. I think Knighton's going to switch to the outside as Fred actually goes to the outside to defend, and he's going to be down the inside as they head wheel to wheel into the Lacombe chicane. Knighton's backed out and he's trying to force Fred into a mistake. It's just not going to happen though, as Fred's so good on the brakes. But they're heading into Rivage now. I think every single lap Knighton's managed to make a move on Fred into this corner, and he's making a move once again down the inside of Fred. They touch wheels again and they're heading wheel to wheel into the corner of no name. Fred's going to have the inside for this left-hander. I think Knighton's going to try and get the switch back and a better run into Puon, but it's just not going to work as they head wheel to wheel into Puon.
Yeah, it seems like, oh, he's nudging him along. They make contact and Nathan has oversteer on the exit of Puon there. I think he just got surprised by how little speed Bodden carried through that corner, but as you said, it seems like every single lap Knighton is just allowing Fred to go around the outside, which compromises his entry into the right-hander on the run down to Rivage, and Knighton always seems to go for that inside line. So are we going to see Bodden try and maybe defend the inside line? Knighton's pulled off that move how many times? I think Bodden should react to it, I would say.
I think Bodden's so good in the brakes that he could just stay on that outside line and maybe hang it around the outside. Depends on what Knighton really does, but I think Knighton's just biding his time. He seems to just be sitting behind Bodden. He's not. I don't think he's going 100% full attack mode, but yeah, it's interesting to see these two drivers. It's all kicking off around the sort of Rivage corner, Liège, and into Pouhon, and that's where we're seeing the main action really. But I think Knighton's holding something back. He's not pushing 100% at this moment in time.
Well, I mean, he doesn't really have to if he's going to have the slipstream aid from Bodden up ahead. This is going to save both of them a lot of fuel here with this slipstream. Definitely getting a launch on this on this main straight, should I say, sorry, as Knighton just streaks ahead into the lead. Will Bodden try and go for the outbraking round the outside? He does, but I think he actually hits the rear of Knighton's car there. Bodden all over the back of Knighton this time though. Will Bodden go for the inside line where Knighton has been going ever so often? And no, he's just not close enough. So Knighton, as he misses his apex, or actually I think he's just going for a late apex, just proving me wrong there, but yeah. It seems like these two drivers are just pushing each other on and on and on, and on the last lap they actually gain time on Carpenter, so it looks like it's slipping away for Carpenter's chances at possibly a first or second.
It's maybe 5 seconds in 5 laps. If these two continue to battle as hard as they are, it might be possible, but Dogar is into the pits. He was in 6th, he's heading out of the pits now. I believe Shepard is right behind as he see Shepard tucking into the slipstream as they head into Eau Rouge, and Dogar's pitted. I think that's his second pit stop, and it's an interesting strategy call, but I think Shepard's going to look to get past as soon as possible because these drivers are both on, I believe, options as they head down the Kemmel Straight, and Shepard's going onto the outside as they head into Le Combe. I think he's going to try and outbrake him around the outside as he sweeps around the outside and into the inside of the next corner. I think he's made the move stick, and that is the move on Dogar completely. I think he's into, is that 6th position now?
Shepard up into P6, so it's a impressive comeback. I mean, he's had a really strong race after losing his front wing with the unfortunate incident with Gomez. It just looks like so many drivers are able to pull that move around the outside of Le Combe. I don't know if there's more grip there, or they just get so much confidence on the brakes.
It's the racing line, so I think there would be more grip, but you see Bodden here, he's got a great run on Knighton. He switches to the outside very, very late, heading wheel to wheel into the Le Combe chicane now. He's going to try the move around the outside of Knighton once again, and has he made it stick? Knighton's sticky in there. I think he's made that move stick once again, as you see Knighton just trying to get the switch back on Bodden, and he's going to try and make a move into Rivage now as Bodden defends to the inside. Knighton has a feint down the inside, he doesn't quite go for the move, but he's right on the back of Bodden now, and these two are just switching positions lap after lap, and it's only a matter of time, I think, before Carpenter realises that he might have a shot at winning this race still if these two have contact.
Yeah, definitely if they have contact. I mean, anything could happen. We've still got 4 laps to go, and I think it's almost been a new leader every single lap of this race. It's definitely been an exciting one out front, especially a battle for the lead that's lasted basically from the start of this race, because you had the 2 Ferraris until they had contact on lap 2 as Knighton runs wide, losing a bit of time out there on the AstroTurf. So Bodden, he's actually starting to gap Knighton, so if Bodden's able to get outside of the slipstream, I think he might have the pace to win this race. I mean, that's all it comes down to. If you can get outside that slipstream, then you could be able to stay ahead, especially if you've got similar pace to the driver behind.
I think that's just relying on Callum making a mistake though, and I don't think they've not really made any major mistakes. You saw Carpenter spin earlier, that would count as a major mistake, but they've had sort of lock-ups, things like that, but they've not really gone off track, they've not span off, they've not really had big mistakes, and they're just consistent enough to really stick with each other, and the slipstream is that powerful that I don't think either of them is really going to really break the slipstream.
Nah, it's definitely not looking that way, although Bodden on that last lap, 7 tenths ahead of Knighton as they cross the line, so you may be getting proved wrong here as we get an onboard view of Carpenter. I don't think you can quite see the 2 leaders up ahead, so Carpenter unable to close the gap. It's been unfortunate for him after his early spin into the grass. I think if he didn't have that spin, he would be up there battling, and it'd be even better to see a 3-way battle for the lead. I mean, that would be something special. Although Evan Rice running in P4 at the moment, is a stellar drive from him. He's that's going to definitely be his best finishing position so far this season. He qualified in 5th place. He's going to have gained a position. He definitely wouldn't have expected that, I would say.
Yeah, it's definitely his best race so far. He's not been in 4th place. He's actually been he's been in 4th place a few times, but he's not
finished. He's not finished.
Yeah. Not in. I think in Imola he was up there in 4th place, and then he spanned that, allowed a few people to get past. But it's a battle brewing here between Shepherd and Dogart. Dogart is on new option tyres. I believe Shepherd is on maybe 6 or 7 lap old option tyres. He's pitted twice. Both drivers have pitted twice. So it's an interesting battle here brewing between these two drivers, but also an interesting battle out front here between Bodden and Knighton. These two are still battling. I think Knighton's actually gained maybe a few tenths on that lap as they head onto the 3rd last lap into La Source hairpin now. And this battle, I think, is just going to go to the very end. I think either driver could win this race.
Are we going to see a move on the last lap, do you think?
It could be possible, just a do-or-die move. But Knighton, he's going to get slipstream here. Is he close enough to really make the move, though?
I think he is close enough if he wants to make the move. He's definitely gonna go for the move. He has the inside. The bang wheels. That seemed like just a complete misunderstanding between the two drivers. Knighton though is gonna go into that outside car. Bodden forcing him up there. Is Bodden gonna defend to the inside this time? No, he's leaving the door open once again, and Knighton just dives down the inside, making contact for probably the 4th or 5th time this race. And I think Knighton, yeah, he's gonna be a nice guy and give the position back. Definitely an overly aggressive move there. Bodden just seems to keep opening that door into Rivage, and he's just allowing Knighton to dive it down the inside of. I think he should be closing that door personally.
Well, it's the corners before. Since he's taking that outside line, it sort of gives him a completely different line from Knighton. And I think Knighton is just every time through that sort of corner before Rivage, it's just getting a switchback, a much better run. That allows him to get the inside for Rivage, and that's what his main strategy is. But it's the line that I think Fred's taking the outside line into Lacombe every single lap, and it's just basically giving us the same sort of action every lap so far.
Yeah, I'm definitely not complaining. It's been a great battle. As Evan Rice, we get a replay of what happened a lap ago. It just looked like he got on the inside curb, put the power down and lost the car, so commentators curse for Rice. He's down into P5 now. I think that will still be a best finishing position for him, but that promotes Gomez up into P4, so it's unfortunate for him. We've got a replay of Mike Panneman here coming round Blanchimont, just losing the car, running a bit wide and go massive shunt into the wall. That's absolutely huge incident for Panneman. I wonder if I'm pretty sure he won't be able to continue with that car. The suspension looks...
I think he's trying to get back into the pits.
You may be right. You may be right. You may actually be able to continue with that car. That's a huge crash. Look at the gap between Bodden and Knighton, though. It's definitely increased.
I'm surprised Panneman's engine didn't cut off, because we've seen similar accidents where you have an accident like that, a big accident, and your engine just cuts out. So it's interesting to see his car still running, but this battle's still going ahead. There's just one more lap after this lap, so the second last lap now. And do you think Knighton's tyres have just maybe dropped off?
He's definitely lost time on this lap.
Yeah, he's dropped off a little bit. I don't know if he's...
Oh, Bodden's ran deep. That's going to allow Knighton onto the back of him.
They're heading into Puon now. And Knighton, I think, is just biding his time. He's just sitting behind Bodden, maybe trying to force him into a mistake, but he's definitely not close enough to really make a move yet. But he's closing in through the Paul Frere chicane. And I think he's going to go for the move on the very last lap of this race. He's saving his time, and he's definitely in a place to sort of get the slipstream here. He runs wide though over the curb though. I think there's just dirty air kicking in as he heads into the right-hander and onto the straight before Blanchimont. Definitely in the slipstream now. He's gaining on Bodden, and it's definitely going to be the last lap. I think it's either do or die for Knighton.
Will Knighton make a move here, or will he go for a move? He's definitely going to go for a move here, though. He's going to try and hang it around the outside. He seems to be a bit late on the brakes. Bodden, though, winning the battle, and he seems to... Oh, Knighton, though, with the cutback. Is he going to be able to pass him into turn 1? It's going to be a battle as we go on to lap 22, the last lap of the Belgian Grand Prix. Bodden leads ahead of Knighton. Is separated by only half a tenth across the line. Knighton all over the back of his gearbox as they run up towards Eau Rouge. This is going to be probably the most exciting finish to a race we've had this season. Knighton all over the back of Bodden as they come. They're going to be topping out at over 200 miles an hour. Here is Bodden goes to the outside to defend. We've seen him do it so many times as Knighton peels back into the slipstream to get more. He's going to go for a move down the inside. Bodden's going to hang it round the outside like he has so many times this race. And it's Knighton then going to go for the cutback, the switchback down towards rFactor. I think he is. He's definitely going to go for it. He switches to the inside. Bodden's got not enough time to defend. Knighton dives it down the inside. They have a bit of wheel banging. Knighton though is going to take the lead of this race in that corner, and he leads towards the corner of No Name as they go side by side once again though. Knighton winning the battle, and now we've got a middle sector where Bodden's going to have to try and gain some time here, but he's losing it out, and he's ran onto the curb on the outside, and that's definitely going to throw his chances away. And it looks like Knighton has won this race, albeit without a mistake. Knighton has the gap. I don't quite think Bodden is able to get close enough to make a move on into bus stop.
Yeah, it was a great move into rFactor by Knighton there. He just had to do that move, otherwise he probably would have finished second, and I don't think he would have been happy finishing second, considering he came all the way from the back of the grid. But it's been an absolutely great battle between these two drivers. There's only maybe a few hundred metres left in this lap, and unless I think Knighton's a huge mistake at the bus stop chicane, he's got this race in the bag.
Yeah, Knighton with an overtake on the last lap as we predicted previously. Bodden won't be quite happy with that though. He left the door open as I said previously, but Knighton coming around the final corner here in Spa to win the Belgian Grand Prix. It's his first win of the season. Definitely one of the best races we've had so far. He'll be mega happy with that as he spins the car round. And Bodden then P2, he's closed up the gap to Baxter in the championship, so we've definitely got a championship battle on once again. Carpenter for his first podium in a long time. Though back onto the battles that are happening. Gomez just in front of Rice. Is Rice close enough, do you think, to make a move into this bus stop chicane?
I don't think he's close enough to slipstream. He's getting slipstream at the moment, but yeah, there's maybe a second gap between these two, and I don't think he's close enough, so I think Rice will have to settle for 5th, but 5th's a good position for Rice. His best finish of the season. It's going to be 4th for Juan Manuel Gomez, 5th for Evan Rice, and the battle for 6th and 7th is actually extremely close between Dogar and Shepherd at the moment. They're heading through Blanchimont. Dogar goes a little bit wide, and Shepherd goes to the inside to defend. Dogar's on much fresher tyres as they head into the chicane. I don't think Dogar is going to be close enough to make a move, and it's going to be 6th place after a comeback drive for Shepherd, 7th for Dogar. So it's been a great race between these two as you see Shepherd go into the wall.
Yeah, it's been a great race all round. I mean, battles throughout the entire field. Knighton coming up trumps in the last lap. It's definitely been a good race. Definitely, I would say, the best race so far this season. Hopefully, next time out in Singapore, we'll get some good battles, even though it's a street circuit. So, yeah, on to the race classification then. On to the race classification for the Belgian Grand Prix. Callum Knighton takes the victory on the last lap from Fred Bodden, which was one of the best races, if not the best race so far this season. After an early spin though, Sam Carpenter only good enough for 3rd place, but he'll be happy with that as it's the first time he's got on the podium in a long time. Juan Manuel Gomez taking 4th place in the late laps from Evan Rice after a spin into the gravel. Max Shepherd having an incident, but a good recovery drive brings him to 6th place. And Vlad Dogar as well, almost pipping that from him with 7th place at the end. Mike Panneman after a late crash, and Christopher Cobb in 8th and 9th respectively, the last classified drivers today. On to the driver standings then. Craig Baxter's gap at the top has been reduced massively to only 9 points, so it's going to be an exciting end to the season, and it's definitely not over like it was looking a couple of races ago. Sam Carpenter in 3rd place, he's starting to get extended from, and it's going to be really hard if he wants to win this championship. Callum Knighton though getting above the 100 point mark, and Kieran Chadwick and Tom Martinez both not scoring any points. Max Shepherd scoring some points, but Juan Manuel Gomez will be looking to catch him. Sesemir Bernatsky and DeWalden wrap out the top 10. Ferrari then, after wrapping up the Constructors' Championship earlier this season, Williams with a decent result here, didn't gain any points, but definitely looking to extend their battle from Mercedes. That's going to be exciting to see if Mercedes will be able to catch Williams at the end of this season. Force India and McLaren in the top 5, and the other teams just scrapping out down the bottom for the remaining points. Thank you for watching. We hope you can join next time for the street circuit that is Singapore. Hopefully that will be just as exciting as this race, and hopefully we'll get some good battling and close battling with the street circuit. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.